My name is Jack Turner. I'm a 62-year-old retired Marine Corps veteran. After 30 years of service to my country, I came back to the quiet life I'd always dreamed of. Bought a small ranch just outside of town in a little Texas county, where cows outnumber people and the stars shine brighter than any streetlight ever could. It was just me, my loyal dog Max, and the open land. No noise, no stress, no one bothering me. I don't own a car. Haven't in over 6 years, not since my last pickup truck gave out. I've stuck to my four-wheeler and an old military Jeep that barely leaves the ranch. If I need to go to town, I call a cab or hitch a ride with a neighbor. Life on the ranch was simple and peaceful. But one morning, that all changed. I went to the mailbox, thinking it would be another day just like any other. And that's when I found it. 87 parking tickets, all from a place called Willow Creek HOA. 87 parking tickets. For a car I don't even own. I stared at the envelope, thinking it had to be some kind of mistake or scam. But when I turned to the last page, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Notice of lien to be placed on property for non-payment. They were putting a lien on my land, my ranch, for unpaid parking violations. A place I'd never been, for a car I didn't even drive. My stomach dropped. I didn't know what to make of it, but I knew one thing: this wasn't right. The very next day, things got worse. A man in a navy blue blazer, fancy sunglasses, and driving a shiny black BMW pulls up to my ranch. He steps out like he owns the place, doesn't even knock before pinning something to my fence. Max barked at him, but he stayed put. He knew I was about to take care of this. I walked over, ripped the paper off the fence, and there it was, another legal notice. The lien was official. They were coming for my land, and I had no idea who these people were or how they even got control over my property. But let me take you back a bit, to where this whole crazy mess started. It was just over a year ago when I settled in. The ranch was everything I had hoped for. Quiet, peaceful, and simple. My routine was built on mornings before dawn, brewing strong black coffee, feeding the chickens, and watching Max chase butterflies. I grew vegetables, kept chickens, even set up a small booth at the weekend farmers market to sell my harvest. I wasn't doing it for money. I had my pension. It was about connection, about community. One day, at the market, I met a young guy named Brandon. He said he was from Willow Creek, about 45 minutes away. We got talking about ranching, the weather, the good old days. He mentioned how he was working on restoring his old Mustang and needed a place to park it for a week or two. I didn't think much of it, so I told him, "Well, I've got plenty of space. You can park it over here for a bit." Brandon seemed grateful, came by the next day, parked his old Mustang near the barn, shook my hand, and promised to pick it up in a week or two. Week went by, then 2, then 3. The car didn't move. I tried calling the number he gave me. Disconnected. By the time a month passed, I was thinking about towing it myself, but figured it wasn't bothering anyone, so I moved it behind the barn, covered it with a tarp, and forgot about it. That's when things started to feel off. I began getting strange envelopes in my mailbox, some empty, some with just a blank piece of paper. Once, someone knocked on my door at 3 a.m. and ran off. Another time, I saw fresh tire tracks near my back fence. Max growled, but he didn't chase. He was getting older. But I didn't connect the dots until now. Until I was holding 87 parking tickets and an official lien in my hands. I drove to the county office the next day in my old rickety Jeep. The clerk there looked at me like I had 2 heads when I told her what had happened. She fumbled with her glasses, typed a few things into her computer, and gave me this confused smile. "Well, sir, according to our system, your property was added to the Willow Creek HOA jurisdiction about 6 months ago." "What?" "I live outside city limits," I said. "I'm not part of any neighborhood." She shrugged, not even looking up from her screen. "That's what it says here. There's a new expansion plan. Some paperwork must have been filed." "A mistake," I said, barely containing my anger. "A mistake that's going to take my land?" She looked at me like she couldn't understand why I was upset. I left that office more confused than ever. I tried to speak to someone at Willow Creek HOA, but every number I called went straight to voicemail. I left messages. No callbacks. Then, a week later, I got 2 more tickets. More warnings. A final notice. 10 days. 10 days to settle it, or else. That night, I sat on my porch with Max beside me. The stars above were cold and clear. And I sat there, holding the letter in one hand, a cold cup of coffee in the other, thinking back on all I'd fought for. I served my country. I faced bullets, bombs, and sandstorms. But this was something else. I decided to go to Willow Creek myself. If they wanted my ranch, I'd face them head on. The next morning, I packed up and made the drive. Willow Creek looked like something out of a brochure. White picket fences, clean SUVs, kids with helmets too big for their heads riding bikes. It was picture perfect. I pulled into the HOA office and walked up to the desk. A woman in a red blouse looked up, smiling a little too wide. "Can I help you, sir?" I handed her the notice. "I'm Jack Turner. You folks sent me this. I don't live here, and I don't know why your HOA is placing a lien on my property." Her fingers froze when she saw the name. Then she smiled again. This time, the smile didn't reach her eyes. "I'm afraid you'll need to speak to our HOA manager," she said softly. "He's not in today." "Then I'll wait." She didn't argue. An hour passed. Then two. No one came. I got up to stretch my legs, walked down a hallway. The door to the records room stood slightly open. I couldn't resist. I walked toward it. Just as I reached for the handle, I heard a voice behind me. "Sir, you need to leave now." I turned around to see two security guards, blocking my path. They didn't look like they were joking. I stood my ground. "No need to get jumpy. I'm just here to get answers." The younger guard, Kyle, stepped forward. "This building's for Willow Creek residents only. You're trespassing." I gave him a slow look. "Funny, your HOA didn't mind sending 87 parking tickets to a guy who doesn't live here." Kyle didn't say anything. The older guard pointed to the door. "We're going to have to ask you to leave now. You can schedule an appointment with the HOA manager." I walked out, realizing there was more going on than I'd ever imagined. This wasn't just about parking tickets. They were trying to steal my land. But I wasn't going down without a fight. As I drove back, I saw something odd. A silver Mustang parked in front of a house in Willow Creek. Same scratches, same dent. It was Brandon's car. The wheels started turning. The house had a "for sale" sign in the yard, and behind it was a shed with stacks of boxes and files labeled HOA. Just as I started to make sense of it all, I saw the man who had delivered the lien notice to my ranch, the same guy in the BMW. He walked right into the house, using a key. This was no coincidence. I knew right then what I had to do.